Hello, everyone, and welcome back to an all-new edition of The Odds Honest Truth, your last regular season NFL edition of The Odds Honest Truth. Week 18, the inaugural Week 18 in the NFL, and we saw some NFL records get broken last week without the extra week, so we can just imagine how many more records could potentially fall this week. Something fun to keep an eye on. I wouldn't necessarily bet on any of them, but We'll talk some spreads a little later on in the show. We'll be joined by Thomas Crincoli to talk NHL, a little David Dubovi college basketball action. And at the time we're recording this, I think Jonathan Kinchin, I don't know. If you don't see him, he didn't send a video. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not in control of the schedule. Thank you so much for tuning into the show this week and every week. I am Craig Gorbanoff, producer Craig at CGorbs94. My man right over there, Rich Wilhelm at Coda522. You can follow the show on Twitter at Odds Honest Truth. And, of course, you can get involved with us over on Chalkboard. Chalkboard is your ultimate social networking sports betting hub. You can get involved today by downloading the app for free and joining the Odds Honest Truth board, where you can track your own bets. You can track our bets. You can get all kinds of great information from bettors in our community, and you can provide great information to bettors in our community, and we can all make some money together. Get involved today. Download the Chalkboard app for free and join the Odds Honest Truth board. So, Rich, let's dive right in, and let's kick things off with Saturday night football, Saturday afternoon into night football. No Thursday night this week. We have two Saturday games. The Kansas City Chiefs will be on the road against the Denver Broncos, and the Dallas Cowboys are on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it's pretty easy to kind of laugh off both of these games, but I think these could be potentially interesting, at least when it comes to playoff seeding. So, Rich, why don't we kick things off over in Denver? And the Chiefs, this on paper, this is a laugher, right? The Chiefs are a better team, but the way the AFC is shaking up, it's really anyone's game to get that one seed, only one bye week up for grabs. So everyone is crucial here in week 18. I think they're going to come to play. The line is at 10. What do you think happens this one?
I mean, whenever there's a division matchup and a division rival can play spoiler, they play harder. And that goes, I guess, with both these teams because they're both division matchups with the Chiefs and the Broncos and the Cowboys and the Eagles. It's just the Chiefs are just so good right now. I mean, you're looking at the Chiefs week in and week out. Obviously last week was kind of a fluke. I mean,
I don't even know if they necessarily deserve to lose that game. Yeah. I mean, it took the Bengals like 8 tries to score from the one at the end there, and it just milked the clock. The Bengals deserved the win, but I don't know if the Chiefs deserved the loss, if that makes any sense.
Exactly. And I mean, obviously the Bengals just won their division. The Chiefs for me are still my Super Bowl favorite from the AFC. I think when we started the show, I said the Chiefs and the Packers, which so my thing's alive and well right now. But if you're talking about this game, 10 points for me, I think is definitely obtainable and should happen. The Chiefs are basically at full strength, and the Broncos are playing with Drew Lock as quarterback. You saw a little bit of Noah Fant action last week. Hopefully he can stay, alive in this game. But, I mean, the Broncos, to me, are a bottom 10 team. So you got possibly the best team in the NFL or the second best team in the NFL versus the bottom 10 team, and it's only 10 points. Give me the Chiefs definitely for this one.
Yeah, I have to say I agree with you here. I think that you look at the way the Chiefs played last week, and again, they didn't get the victory at the end, but they just looked really, really complete. They were able to move the ball pretty much at will. The defense looked really good in the first half, and then Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals offense was able to kind of click, and Jamar Chase just kind of went off. And
yeah, he's insane. He is. To me, he's rookie of the year. He took it back from Mac that game. He snatched it. He said, "This is my necklace now."
That's 100% how I feel as well. But when a player has a performance like that, there's not exactly too much the opposing team can do. No one on the Broncos is capable of doing what Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow was able to do last week. I think this is a no-brainer. Chiefs -10. A couple of the player props are out currently. we did not do enough extensive homework on this yet, but just while we're gabbing, Rich, I'll throw a couple out at you. You can do it. We can do a just gut decision coin flip,
Gotcha.
and you'll have to check back in with us on Saturday. Patrick Mahomes over under touchdowns, 1.5. The over
for
no
sure.
brainer.
Yeah, I mean the Broncos have a good defense on paper, but I mean everyone can tear them up, so definitely over for that.
Passing yards for Patrick Mahomes, 273.5.
I'm going over. He does that in his sleep.
I agree with you. We have some receiver yards as well available currently via the Caesar Sportsbook. So Tyreek Hill, 62.5.
I can see that going over too. I mean, that's kind of low for Tyreek. I mean, Tyreek, normally if he's in the 80 range, I try to stay away from it, but I can go 60 range. I like that.
And I think this could be where he fully bounces back. He had COVID, he had an off week, he had a better week. I think this could be his return game. So I like the over. What about my man Byron Pringle? Over under 35.5.
I hate betting on them. If it's Pringle, if it's Robinson, if it's Hardman, you don't know which one's going to perform outside of Tyreek and Kelsey. Tyreek and Kelsey are going to perform, and then it's like a coin flip. So I never ever bet Pringle, Hardman, or Robinson because it's always the one you don't bet. So with that being said, under.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. It's too wishy-washy. I wouldn't even touch it. But I would lean the under. And then Travis Kelsey is the last one available, 62.5. I like the over there.
I like the over on that. Yeah, he normally always hits that mark, and he's a beast. So give me the over on Tyreek and Kelsey for sure.
Let's move on to the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles, Rich. The line is currently at 7. I think this could have been a potentially really interesting game, but the Eagles are dealing with a little bit of a COVID situation, which is a shame because what have they won? Like 9 games in a row?
Oh, it's not. I think they were undefeated in December. I don't think it was 9 in a row, but I mean they're on a tear. The way they started off.
I mean, they're running the football like crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a very dangerous looking team. And I think we're getting cheated a little bit out of this matchup here.
So let me come at it with a different angle here. If I'm the Eagles, I don't start a single starter because there's a scenario where you play the Cowboys week 1 in the playoffs. If you have the opportunity to not play any starters, rest your guys, and then go into the playoffs completely healthy, the Cowboys have to play their starters. They're trying to go up in the rankings here. If I'm the Eagles, I sit literally everyone. I have Gardner Minshew start at quarterback. I have Boston Scott start at, running back. And then I let, Devonta Smith take a week off too. I mean, with COVID and everything else, it seems like the right course of action. So if it was me, I lock in the Cowboys spread right now because I think there's a possibility that's exactly what happened. And also with that being said, I think I'm only going to be betting the Cowboys props. Give me the number on Dalton Schultz because he is one of my favorite up-and-coming players. I love everything about Dalton Schultz. His receptions, his yards, even maybe an anytime touchdown for him because he is consistent, Mr. Consistency over there.
They do not have player props available just yet on this game.
Well,
but yeah, Schultz is a guy.
Bet the over. The reception, if it's 3.5, go over. If it's like even up to, I think last week it was like 42.5. He demolished that. I would bet him anything 55 or under. I'm betting Dalton Schultz over for sure. He's
certainly one of the up and coming tight ends in this league for sure. I don't really have too much to add on this game. I think when you enter COVID into the situation, it doesn't become a particularly fun matchup. I don't plan on betting many of the player props. I may play around with the -7 on the Cowboys line, and maybe do a little parlay action with the Chiefs as well, because in my brain these are some no-brainers.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add about Saturday Night Football?
No, I mean, just I would love for this to be the rematch. I want to see this again next week at full strength.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think it could be a really fun matchup. The Cowboys have an explosive offense. The Eagles kind of have this rough, gritty rushing attack thing going on. I think it'd be a really fun dichotomy. I'm using my big vocab word. It's
There
the
you
big
go.
word for Elmo.
Yeah.
I've been on TikTok a lot today. So that's going to do it for our Saturday Night Football analysis. Agree, disagree, let us know in the comment player below on YouTube. Fire away on Twitter at Odds Honest Truth. Or, of course, you can yell at us over on Chalkboard that you download for free and join the Odds Honest Truth community. Let's transition over to the NHL. We have Thomas Crincoli returning to the Odds Honest Truth airwaves to talk about his NHL bets. Thomas, take it away.
What's up, guys? This is Tom Crincoli with your NHL picks for January 6th, 2020. Happy New Year. So we're going to get right into it for Thursday, January 6th. Here are my favorite plays. We're going to start out in Boston. We got the Minnesota Wild going up against the Boston Bruins. Minnesota Wild, they're a little injury-ridden. There is some issues. If you've seen, the Winter Classic wasn't their prettiest game. They're without their second best center and Joel Eriksson-Ek, maybe their best center with Joel Eriksson-Ek. Jared Spurgeon's out with injuries. They're also bringing in two young guys in Marco Rossi and Matthew Boldy. So with a pretty experienced Bruins team that keeps churning out the same lineup, it seems, since 2010. Obviously, there's been some changes there, but pretty similar lineup. Either Linus Ullmark will be in net for the Bruins or Jeremy Swayman, but I'm going to take the Bruins at -1.5. I think there's value there. Not liking the way that the Wild have been looking lately. The Cam Talbot might be out. I'm pretty sure he's day-to-day right now, so stay tuned on that one. I do like the Bruins -1.5. Maybe you could take a three-way money line with the Bruins winning in regulation. I don't think there's a lot of value there on taking just the Bruins regular money line, so we'll lock it in at Bruins -1.5 for my first pick of Thursday. Moving on, we're going to go to Tampa Bay. Whether it's the Bucks, the Lightning, the Heat. Well, maybe not the Heat. They're not in Tampa. I'm stupid. Anyway, we got the Tampa Bay Lightning going up against the Calgary Flames, and I like the under in this one. These are pretty good scoring teams. Well, the Flames, not so much, but the Lightning, we know they can score. We know the offensive lineup that they have. But you look at the two goaltenders, you got Andrei Vasilevsky versus either Dan Vladar or Jacob Markstrom. The goaltending is probably this top 5 goaltending combined in the league right now. They're playing very well. I think the Lightning are going to be missing only Ross Colton. I think Zach Bogosian's out. It's not a whole lot of injuries. The Flames, I'm pretty sure, are completely healthy, so there's no worry there. Luckily, with this whole thing going on in Canada, restrictions and all that, good fun stuff. I do like the under 6 goals. Obviously, we know Tampa can score, but with Vasilevsky, Markstrom, or Vladar in net, I think under 6 is a great play for Thursday night. Moving on to my third pick, I'm looking at the Dallas Stars underdog money line at home against the other Florida team, the Florida Panthers. Florida Panthers are a great team this year. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate them. I do think the Stars have improved from the beginning of the season. They're a pretty healthy lineup right now. I don't see a whole lot of injuries through that lineup. Not a lot of COVID going on there. Panthers, on the other hand, I think they're missing Sam Reinhart, missing a few key names right now. But going into Dallas at home, I see the Panthers have had a pretty clean slate of games where they've kind of rolled through some teams recently. So look for the Dallas Stars to take that underdog money line there. I don't think there will be a whole lot of value out there them for +1.5, but love Jake Ottinger in that if he's playing. Braden Holtby's having a great season as well. So take the Dallas Stars money line on Thursday night. So we'll do a quick recap. First, we are going over to Boston. We'll take them -1.5 against the Wild. And we'll go down to Tampa Bay, where we'll take the under 6 goals in that one. And then we'll move on to the Dallas Stars. I just said it, and I almost forgot it already. But the Dallas Stars take their money line, underdog money line, like that play for Thursday night. I think it's going to be a great night of hockey. Not as many postponements as we saw over the holidays. So everyone lock them in and let's win.
Time for David Dubovi for his college basketball picks. Again, welcome David back to the Odds Honest Truth airwaves after a couple of weeks off. David, it is your time to shine. Let us know who to bet for college basketball.
What's going on, everyone? Happy 2020. This Saturday, we got 3 games to keep an eye on to make yourself some money. Starting off, we got number 24th ranked Seton Hall versus UConn. Seton Hall is getting some players back from COVID protocol. Looked good in their last game versus Butler. For this game, probably bet the under. Seton Hall games are usually very low scoring, very good defensively. So I got Seton Hall winning this. Definitely bet the under as well. Next up, we got Michigan versus Michigan State. Michigan State is ranked 10th. Michigan, needless to say, it's been very upsetting to be a Michigan fan. If you are a Michigan fan this year, 7-6 heading into this game, not looking good. Just lost to a pretty bad Rutgers team. So I got Michigan State probably blowing Michigan out of the gym. Probably bet the over and Michigan State to win. And then we got 11th ranked Iowa State versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma's coming off a loss to Butler, lost by 10, but to Baylor actually. Baylor is the number 1 team ranked in the country. So I probably got Oklahoma winning this versus Iowa State, who's ranked 11. In a close game, I'd probably bet the under and Oklahoma to win. See you guys next week.
All right, guys, it is time to break down our NFL betting Sunday, and we're going to give a little bit of a caveat here, and this isn't a cop-out, but this is the hardest week in football to bet, the last week of the season, because you don't really know who's saving some in the tank for the playoffs. You don't necessarily know, you don't necessarily know what's important to every team. And the lines are what the lines are, and they'll shift and they'll spread and they'll move around a lot between now and Sunday as we kind of shed some light on that. Plus the COVID of it all, you don't necessarily know who's even playing right now. So take all this with a little bit of a grain of salt. But that being said, I think this is the more interesting storyline in the NFL this week is the Jags Colts and what that does for the Raiders and the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. So let's start with this Jags Colts game. The line is currently 15.5. The Jags are the underdogs. They are at home. The Colts have not won in Jacksonville since 2014. Now, if the Colts don't win this game, the other 2 teams I mentioned before, the Raiders and the Chargers, can make the playoffs via a tie. Both of them make it via a tie. Mm-hmm. So should the Colts not win in Jacksonville, like they haven't since 2014, we could see Sunday Night Football of knees. Just lots and lots of knees. Mm-hmm. And we were arguing this a little bit before. You don't think that would happen. If I were these teams, I would take it as a bye week. Send all my backups out there. And it's like, okay, we both get to make the playoffs and we take a knee and we get to rest this week and we don't have to worry about it. But that being said, the Colts are 15.5-point favorites for a reason in this game. I think they're going to win. They need to win because this is a team that, if they can get into the playoffs, is going to be super dangerous. And you know, I don't see a scenario in which the Colts lose. However, 15.5 is a huge spread for a team that does not perform well in Jacksonville. So, Rich, I'm going to give you the credit because I'm kind of talking as if I'm taking the credit, but you put in the pick officially 15.5. I agree with you. Jags plus 15.5. I think that's too big of a spread for this team, and not for nothing. I also think the Colts will probably go up early and then just kind of hold on to it. I don't foresee them winning this game by 21 points. Seems crazy.
No, you nailed it. I mean, I think the Colts are going to go up early, and then they're going to, if they have the possibility to rest starters, they're going to do it in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, that's my whole way of thinking. I mean, they could very well win by 14. But, I mean, I think the Jags are going to have the ability to come back because there's going to be a lot of backups in there. I think Jonathan Taylor needs 97 yards to have the record or something, or what is it, like 2,000 Is it 2,000 rushing yards? He needs 97 yards or something like that.
That sounds right.
So I think they're going to keep him in there just enough to get the record, and they'll pull him out. But I mean, 97 yards, you can say, oh, that takes all game for a running back. Not for Jonathan Taylor necessarily. So, you're gonna see some foot off the gas action here. The Jags lost by 40 last week, so I'm not saying like this is like an automatic I bet your bankroll on, but I just think that with them being home, them not being able to beat this. I mean, the Colts not being able to beat them in 8 years.
And for the record, the Jags haven't been good over the last 8 years.
No, they had the first pick, last year. So, it's just it could be a fluke thing, but I think, like you said, the foot's going to come off the gas, and I think the Jags are going to be able to lose by 10. They're not going to win. Like the knee action, I would love for it to happen, but there's no way.
It'd be hysterical, but it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. We talked about one team fighting for first place, the Chiefs. They're playing on Saturday, so really, I mean, they're not in control of their destiny. They need to win. Yeah. But this Titans game against the Texans, they win. They have first place. They're currently in first place. I don't really know how that happened. Just like quick sidebar. The Titans were always like a better team this year, but when did they become the first place team? Like in my brain, they're pretty average with all the injuries that they've suffered throughout the year. I think, they make the playoffs, they get the bye week, say they win this week, they get the bye week. They're probably the most dangerous team in the playoffs with Derrick Henry back and a fully healthy squad. Yeah. But when did this happen? I don't understand.
After the Jets beat them, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
That was like, oh man, we gotta play hard now. But yeah, I mean, they're always, to me, I thought, the Titans are always kind of the middle of the road team. They always perform well, and then they just kind of falter. But I mean, they're getting healthy at the right time. AJ Brown's coming back fully. Derrick Henry, today, which is Wednesday the 5th, they said he's designated to come back off of IR. It'd be very stupid to play him against the Texans.
Oh yeah.
Which don't, but they're saying it's a possibility. But I mean, the spread right now is 10. If you just look at these two teams, based on the players that they have, the Titans want that number one spot. So you're gonna see, Julio Jones in there. You're gonna see AJ Brown in there. You're gonna see Dante Foreman in there probably the whole game. And Dante Foreman was on the street, like a couple months ago. So I mean, I don't know. It's just interdivisional. It's always hard, but Davis Mills, I feel like he's an up-and-coming quarterback. I feel like he took it over, and he's like, you know what, Deshaun Watson, keep getting your massages, man. I'm good. But there's just not enough. I mean, you only have one Brandon Cooks on that team. You only have one Nico Collins, who, again, not a lot of people know who he even is. And then you got Sexy Rexy Burkhead at running back. So, I mean, it's just a collection of
misfit toys.
Yeah. They're not going to beat the number one seed.
No, but that said, the Texans have been able to score some points on a couple occasions this season against some mildly good teams. So I wouldn't say this is a guarantee, but the Titans really want that bye week. They need that bye week. They need an extra week of practice for Derrick Henry, and they need this. They really need this bye week to get this team healthy and right and be what I think could be a Super Bowl winning team if they come out of the gate, out of the bye week, healthy and on fire. Well, the first 5 games for the Tennessee Titans this year, they were incredible. And then Derrick Henry got hurt, and I thought of them as pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
Depends a little bit on how they gel after the bye, so there's some caveats to my words here. But if they come back and they look like they did at the beginning of the season, there's no reason why they couldn't win the Super Bowl this year.
There's Ryan Tannehill. That's why I don't think they can. I think they're one quarterback away.
What? All he has to do.
Yeah, but I mean, that guy should not be back. He is a mutant. He's not a human being.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're better than the Chiefs right now. And I think that's who's going to end up beating them in the playoffs. But
the Bengals will beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, and they won't have to worry about it. I don't know how the
Titans works out. I would love the Bengals to face the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game as a rematch.
I do too. That game was incredible.
You want to know what this is called though? This game?
I was going to say, did we give our pick here?
Well, Titans -10, but
Yes.
this is the Jets beat you bowl.
Huh, yeah.
Can't say that often, so I'm going to say it right now. But Titans -10. Put that one as a lock for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the closest thing to a guarantee that I think we have this week, that the Titans are hungry for this win, and I think they'll put the beat down on them. Yep. Let's talk about the New England Patriots. This is another hungry team, not in control of their own destiny, but they need to win for a chance at the AFC East. They are playing against the Miami Dolphins, who, weird team, the Dolphins. They win games, but in my brain, they're not good. Their quarterback, Tua Taga, I can never say his last name, Tua. He's accurate, but he turns the football over. They're a weird team. I don't know how to feel about them. All I know is a hungry Patriot team is a dangerous Patriot team. They're 6.5-point favorites, and I think they're going to blow the doors off of Miami. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, they beat the Jaguars 50-10 last week. So, I mean, just looking at the Dolphins, it sucks that you can win 7 games in a row, right? They won 7 in a row, and you lose 1 game and you're eliminated. So, to me, if they don't want to put all their starters out there this week, they don't have to. They should, because most of these players aren't starters on other teams. So you should put out Tua, and you should have, you got to get Waddle more time out there. I love Waddle. Jalen Waddle, I think, is awesome. Gesicki, he's auditioning for other teams in this game. So I think the Patriots just are a better team, better coached, better offense, better defense, better special teams. So, give me the Patriots. What is it, -6.5 right now? So just win by a touchdown. I hate the Patriots with all my heart, but I hate the Dolphins too, so it's fine.
Yeah. And just to kind of clarify something I said earlier, both the Patriots and the Bills are in the playoffs, but I think there's a lot of pride for this.
They both want to win their division.
Yeah. I think winning the division for Belichick specifically, who's dominated this division for the last 20 years, he doesn't want to give it up. Like, they want to win this division. So I think they're going to really give the Dolphins everything they got. But on that topic, the Bills are playing the Jets, and if they win the division. And
I mean, the Jets almost beat the Bucs last week, so I mean, anything is possible. The NFL is a weird place,
especially in Week 18. Yeah. And who knows? Maybe Buffalo decides winning the division isn't as important to them, and they want to rest some starters and be healthy for the play. Who knows? You never know what's going to happen this week. Yeah.
You know how much money they make from the merchandise? Just AFC East champion. They want
a decent amount. It's a decent amount.
They definitely want.
It's a pretty payday. Yeah. It's those T-shirts. They're great. They're great.
And hats,
and hats and towels and all that.
I still have my one from 2002. That was the last time the Jets won the division.
Oh, look at you! Does it fit?
Well, I was fat as hell back then, so yes, it does.
Oh, okay. It's a sleep shirt.
It is. Yeah.
That's 90s. Perfect. Let's talk about a team that just came up a little bit in our convo, and that's the Tampa Bay Bucks, and they're playing against the Carolina Panthers. It was a close game last week. The Bucks did end up clinching the division though, so they're not necessarily playing for a lot right now. The Packers clinched the conference, so there's not a lot at stake for the Buccaneers, so they might take their foot off the gas a little bit. And they're playing the Carolina Panthers. But should both of these teams show up and play, I like the Bucks -8. But personally, I wouldn't bet this one because there's not a lot at stake, so I don't know how much of the Bucks we're going to actually see.
Yeah, but even less that the Panthers have to put out there. And the Panthers are a lesser team to begin with. I mean, if Sam Darnold's going against my neighbor down the street, I'm going to root for the neighbor. I think the neighbor's got a good shot. So, the Super Bowl reigning champions, 8 points, just because they can barely beat the Jets doesn't mean they can barely beat the Panthers. I think this is going to be a slobber knocker.
Yeah. I again, if the Bucks show up to play and, whatever, I think they beat the dog poop out of them, but I don't know. We'll have to
Tom
see.
Brady's still playing for the MVP. I mean, that's where my head's at. I mean, it's between him Aaron Rodgers and Jonathan Taylor, I would say. But they don't give the award to running backs. So if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play this week, he's fighting to. We don't know if he's going to. Brady's going to be like, what about me? And they might let him.
And he might play. Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. And then the last game that we identified here is the Chargers-Raiders game. Yep. Let's assume that the Colts win and we don't just see knees all Sunday Night Football. Mm-hmm. The line right now is -3 in favor of the Chargers. These are some interesting teams. They're both, fighting for a playoff spot. If the Colts win, correct me if I'm wrong here, the winner of this game makes the playoffs. That's correct?
Yes.
So it's winning, you're in. Sunday Night Football. The Raiders had a very impressive win last week against the Colts. The Chargers are looking great again. Austin Eckler scored in the first 3 seconds of last week's game.
The sneeze.
Yeah. I think this can be a real fun one, but the Raiders for me are just a little too inconsistent for me to give them any kind of backing. And we've talked about how good the Chargers are all year. I think they're one of the better teams in football. Their record shows it. Their stats show it. I like the -3 here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just two polar opposite teams. I mean, if you're looking at the NFL, you look at who's the best 9-7 team and who's the worst 9-7 team, and I think you have this game. For me, the worst 9-7 team is either the Raiders or the Eagles, and the best 9-7 team is this Charger team with one of the best up and coming quarterbacks. Here's a question that everyone's asking on Twitter this week, and I want to ask you because you love both these guys. Who would you rather have right now, Joe Burrow or Herbert?
Oh, that is a good question.
Right.
I'm a Joe Burrow guy.
Yeah.
I liked him in college. I also think part of it, when it comes to the quarterback position, I think the persona is a helpful thing. And Joe Burrow is a bit of a character. He smokes the cigars. He's hungry. A coach calls him out and he's like, yeah, I'm going to drop 500 yards because someone said I don't deserve a Hall of Fame jacket or whatever. I think all of that is what makes Joe Burrow. And not that Justin Herbert isn't an incredible quarterback, but I like the full package that Joe Burrow brings to the table.
Until the character turns into Antonio Brown. Hopefully he pulls that back a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I would love to have either,
I'll take either. Exactly.
But I mean, Zach Wilson's been, we're not going to talk about the Jets game because obviously we both think the Bills are going to win. But I mean, he's been all right. 3-time rookie of the week here in Zach Wilson. But in this game that we're actually talking about, I love the Chargers. The last time that they played, it was a closer game, but I think the Chargers are just going to go into the playoffs hot. They're going to win this one. I do like that Darren Waller's coming back. If you want to, do a couple of prop bets, I always go over on Waller's receptions and yards. Hunter Renfrow is turning into Hunter Edelman before our very eyes. He's like, I'll take that number one wide receiver role, thank you. And on the Chargers, they're full strength. Austin Eckler and Jackson, they've proven their 1-2 punch right now. Mike Evans, Keenan Allen. And they got their tight end back today too, and Cook. So it's gonna be a full strength game, and it's gonna be a fun one. It's a great way to end the regular season with a Chargers win.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. While the Jets did come up, and I'm likely not going to bet it real quick. 16 is a bit of a nuts spread.
I'm taking the Jets, honestly. I am.
The Bills haven't been that good over the last couple of weeks.
And it's another game where they're going to take their foot off the gas a little bit because they can,
right.
The Jets cannot do that. They don't,
people are playing for jobs.
Exactly. You have a lot. The Jets have a core right now that they can build around, which I haven't been able to say that since Sanchez. They definitely, Elijah Moore might be coming back this game. Michael Carter had a concussion. He might be coming back. Zach Wilson is thrown to Braxton Berrios and Kenny Yeboah.
And I have to say, I kind of like Braxton Berrios as of late.
Yeah.
He looks good out there. He looks like an Edelman type, like a Cole Beasley type.
Yeah, he reminds me of Corbett. He plays like Corbett, and he returns the ball like Brad Smith. He's We can call him White Brad Smith if you want. It's the same player. So, him coming back as like a wide receiver 4 next year, I'm fully on board with that. Or even a 3 if they want to get, weird with it. But, they have a core that is going to keep up with this team. They're not going to lay down and die.
So I have to say, I do like the Jets plus 16, and we don't have player props yet, but I would look at Berrios and see what his receptions and yards are, and likely take the over. Anything you want to add? Any other games you want to give 2 cents on for Sunday?
The only other game that I was looking at was the Rams game. If Jimmy G plays, I'm not touching this one. If Trey Lance plays, I feel comfortable taking the Rams minus 4.5. I just think Trey Lance has a lot to learn, and it's not going to be against the best defense in the NFL. So that's just my little caveat there. Everything else, I'm just probably not going to bet. Actually, if Kirk Cousins does not play for the Vikings, I am taking Chicago minus 3.5. Chicago put the beat down on the Giants last week. Justin Fields is coming back. I know he wants to end on a high note. And the Vikings do not have a backup quarterback that is worth being on the field. So, I have a caveat there.
Real quick before we sign off, do we want to update our viewers on the fantasy football championships?
No, we don't. I don't think so.
Well, why don't you talk about your winning leagues, and then we'll talk about our matchup.
All right.
Well, you went 2-1 last week.
I did. And the one that I was right losing was against you, and you beat me. It's fine. You wiped the floor with me. I think you put up over 200 points, and my guys put up drool on the screen.
Nearly doubled your score.
You did, but I mean, I would have changed it up if I wouldn't have. You got me. I mean, Justin Jefferson. I said to you, I was like the second Kirk Cousins went out, he was gonna get.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of players that COVID got me good. But I went 2-1. I won a league that I've never won before. I win most points every single year. This year I won most points and chip, and then my dynasty league, which we showed you the belt last week. Of course, I'm gonna win that. But you got us in the interstateofgreen.com fantasy football bowl there, and it's a dynasty league too. So you got a lot to work. Your team is strong.
Yeah, we it'll be depending on how many cuts we have to make next year, it'll be hard because I like this squad quite a bit.
You only have to cut 7.
Just get rid of my bench. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to do it for this week's edition of The Odds Honest Truth. Thank you so much for listening to the show this week and every week. Thank you so much to our friends over at Chalkboard for supporting this show. Get involved today. It's the ultimate sports betting social networking platform. Head on over to the App Store, download the app for free, enjoy the Odds Honest Truth Board. Thanks so much to our friends at the In the Money Media Network, Peter Thomas Fornatel, Jonathan Kinchin, Drew Coatney, and everyone else who contributes to this show on a weekly basis. And thanks to all of you, the listeners. I'm Craig Gorbanoff. That is Rich. You can follow us on Twitter at Cgorb94, at Coda522, or at Odds Honest Truth on Twitter. Enjoy the final week of the regular NFL season. I know we will. We're very much looking forward to some playoff football. And until next time, allegedly, that'll do it.